So what is BYOB? Well, some of you think it means bring your own beverage, but I'm talking about become your own banker. So how do you actually become your own bank? Well, that's what I want to show you in today's video. I want to give you the basics of how changing just one thing, and that is where your money goes first, and adding one step can change your entire financial future and allow you to take back the banking functions in your life. In other words, you no longer pay the banks all the interest that you're paying them. Now you're gonna pay your own private bank. So why don't we do this? Let's dive over to the whiteboard and let me show you how this works. So Hannah, if we're gonna teach them how to be their own bank, it's important that they understand how banks actually operate. So most of you are familiar with this, but let's just recap it. You get money because you work for it, and then you deposit that money in the bank. And the main reason you do that is, number one, because that's what you've been told to do your entire life. Number two, maybe your bank pays you interest. Let's just say 4%. You know any banks paying 4%?
Well, I know one, my privatized bank, but we'll get into that later.
So let's just say the bank paid you 4%. Your deposit to you is a feel-good thing. That's an asset to you. But to the bank, your deposit serves as a liability because it's not their money. Or is it? Well, it actually is, because when you deposit money in the bank takes your deposit and turns that liability into an asset by lending that money out. They don't have to ask your permission, they just lend it out. And when they do that, they lend it to somebody buying a home, and then they give them a mortgage, and they charge roughly 7% right now. So 7% is the amount that borrower is gonna have to pay back to the bank. And it is then going to transfer and go over to the seller of the house. Now the seller's been told the same thing that you, the depositor, was told. Put your money in the bank. That's what they do. They deposit it. The bank's job then is to take that money and keep it working for them, and they don't have to ask your permission, which is why I said you're not in control of your money. Because if you were in control of your money, Hannah, wouldn't the bank have to ask permission?
Nope, they don't have to ask your permission.
Exactly. They then take that money and lend it back out to someone that wants to buy a car. Yep. And when the bank gives you a car loan, who do you make payments back to? That's right, the bank. And then the car dealer puts the money back into the bank account, and the bank keeps doing this over and over. Lends it out to somebody to do a home remodel, 9%. The contractor gets the money, puts it back into the bank, and the bank just keeps lending your money back out and charging more and more and more interest, because the risks are going up here. So therefore, if someone borrowed money for an unsecured credit card debt payoff, well, that is more risk for the bank, so they're going to charge right around 12%. But the credit cards get their money back, deposit the money. The whole point I want you to understand here is all the bank's doing is taking your money and moving it around and around and around. And in doing so, they're making a bunch of money on you, aren't they?
A boatload of money.
Well, how much money are they making? So to figure that out, what we would do is take what the bank's paying you, the 4%, and subtract it from what the bank is lending your money out at. That would mean the bank is making a spread. If we add up all these deals that the bank did, we're going to come up with a number like 20%. The bank made 20, you made 4. Which one do you want to be? You want to be the one making 4, or do you want to be the bank making 20? But Hannah, by the math, the bank's not actually making 20. How much more money is the bank making than the depositor?
Honestly, if you add it all up, 500% more. Because doesn't 4 go into 25 times?
That's 5 times more.
I mean, y'all, banks are making no less than 400 to 1300% annually on the money that you leave there with them. And what risk did the bank take in doing all of this?
0.
Not a lot, because whose money did they use?
The depositors.
Your money. They use your money. Now, I do agree, though, the interest rate offsets the risk, but if you're too risky of a borrower anyways, is that banker even going to lend you the money? No.
So what business do you all want to be in now? I would say the bank business, right? You want to become your own bank. So let's show you how to do that.
See, what people have been taught is that we got to go out there and we got to make money somehow. Because, right, you got to make money to live on this God-given earth we call America. And then what do? Well, there's a few options. You could leave it at the bank because that's just where they keep the money at. You go leave it underneath your mattress or dig a hole in the backyard. Or you can leave it with a financial advisor who thinks they can manage your money better than you can, right? And that's all the options that we're given. But what if I can utilize my own privatized banking system, get out of the commercial banks, stop letting the government and the Fed dictate our lives? So I want to share with y'all how we're implementing this infinite banking concept in a real life example. Because Chris, I don't know if you know this, but over 78% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. And it's increasing every single year. So how can I really take back the control of my money and where my money's going first? So number one, you got to go make your money. But instead of putting it at the bank, what we do is we make those deposits into our own privatized banking system, or i.e. our whole life insurance policy that's designed for immediate high cash value. And Chris, what's our definition of immediately?
In the first 30 days.
In the first 30 days.
But hold on a second, because I think a lot of people, when you said that, you said put it into a specially designed and engineered whole life policy. I'm not an expert, but I'm thinking some of these folks are like, oh, heck no, that isn't the place to do it. Dave Ramsey says that's the worst place you could put your money. High commissions, silly place to put money. So should we tell them why they should change where their money goes first?
And we could do a whole video on the why. But high level bullet points, number one, it earns guaranteed interest, guaranteed uninterrupted compounding interest. Number two, it's tax-free growth. So the government's completely out of my hair and it's totally backwards thinking to what we've been taught. You know, hey, Chris, take your tax cuts now, because in the future, when you're pulling money on that 401k, that IRA, it won't matter because you won't be making as much money later on, right? Totally backwards thinking and bogus. So we earn the uninterrupted compounding, we're in guaranteed interest, it's tax-free growth, and then on top of that, we got a death benefit that's on that policy. Because y'all, it's not an if we die or graduate is the word we like to use, it's a when. And when that time happens, those dollars then get paid out to our heirs and our next generation that's in line. What other bullet points am I missing?
Protected against judgments and liens. The insurance companies we work with are mutually owned. Therefore, they pay dividends every year and never, ever have missed one for well over 100 years. So you start adding up all these different reasons, which I didn't write them all down. It starts becoming very evident that this is a better place to store your money.
So now that we kind of got the basics down, why whole life? From here, what we're going to do is when we make our deposits into our policy, and number one, you get to decide how much you want to put into that policy. I'm never going to tell you, Chris is never going to tell you, any of our mentors on our team, we're never going to tell you how much to start with. You decide how much you want to put into your policy. So from there, you make those premium deposits, and then immediately is what?
Immediately in the first 30 days.
Within first 30 days. From there, we take out the cash value loan from the policy. Now, some people are thinking, Hannah, this is a loan. I have to pay it back? Why am I taking out loans?
They're trying to get out of debt, and now they're taking more loans.
That's right. Let me ask you, why do we take out these loans? Why do we not just withdraw the money out?
Well, you could, but the insurance company allows you to use their own money, like their general account money, so that it allows all of your money to stay in the account, earning guaranteed interest plus dividends in a tax-free environment while using the insurance company's money instead of yours. So you're able to now borrow from the insurance company at a rate lower than you can from a bank and use that money while your money continues to compound uninterrupted.
That's right. I'll even add just one more thing to that. Inside of that policy contract, and why we're able to do this is because when you're a policy owner, you hold first rights to the cash value that's inside of that policy. So that's why when you call up to the insurance company and you say, hey, I want to take out this cash value loan, they never ask you what you're using the money for, when you're going to pay it back, or how you're going to pay it back. Because at the end of the day, they don't care. Because what you're doing is you're collateralizing the death benefit. You're putting that death benefit up for collateral, and we're taking that loan from the general funds of the insurance company. So that's how and why the money still grows, even though we're using it out here in the real world. Just want to drive that home for my analytical.
But we're not completely getting away from the banks, because we are going to use a segregated bank account to run our money through for books and records. So folks, what I mean by that is this middle here, when you take the loan from the insurance company, that loan money has to go somewhere. So we're going to set up a second bank account at whatever bank you want, and we're going to call that your segregated bank account, because we want to keep track of our banking activity, because then you have books and records showing every loan and every recycled and recaptured dollar in the system.
Correct. Now, from there, it's also good for accounting purposes. Let me just add that in, okay? Because all the money that comes out of the policy is tax-free to you. So it's just nicer for your CPAs come around tax time. You don't have to go in and detangle the mess, because everything's separate for you as well.
But we're not going to let the bank hang on to the money. We're going to just use it as a pass-through.
That's right. So let's assume that this individual were in debt, okay? Because like I mentioned, a lot of Americans are living the paycheck to paycheck financial hamster wheel life. So what I want to do is I want to line up my debts from the lowest balance to the highest balance, not the highest interest rate, the lowest balances to the highest balances. Because if I can go take this money and just pay off something and it just frees up some cash flow for me, the control is back in my hands, is it not?
Mm-hmm.
So in this exercising equipment, what should we say? Let's say it costs us $5,000.
Yeah, probably $5,000.
All right, so it's $5,000 is how much it costs us. And how much monthly are we paying to that? I'm going to say,
I don't know, what is the interest rate on exercise equipment? 10% probably?
okay, what's our monthly payment?
$5,000, 10%, probably got to be a few $100.
It's called 200?
200.
Okay, so 200 a month is going to my exercise equipment. Mm-hmm. So let's now just skip and let's go to the ones that most people have, which is your car payment or your credit cards. So let's say on the car, let's say that you have left $30,000 to pay off, okay? And your monthly payment on that car, what?
$500 a month.
$500. And then on your credit cards, let's say you have a total of $15,000 on them. Okay. Of that $15,000, let's say that you're sending them $400 a month. Make sense?
Yeah.
So Chris,
that would be all interest, I will say.
That would be all interest, making just our minimum payments, right?
Because credit cards right now are over 20% for most Americans by statistics. So you could just put down there 20+%. So if you're making a $400 monthly payment on a $15,000 credit card balance, my guess is that's all interest.
Yep. So from here, what are we going to do first? Once I've loaned the money out of my policy, it's hit my segregated bank account, what should I do first?
Then you should look at which one of these debts has the lowest balance and pay that one off first, so that you can recycle and recapture the money you were giving away and allow that money to work to pay off your other debts.
That's right. So number one, we're going to pay off the exercise equipment. Take this, we had enough to pay off the $5,000 balance. So now that $200 that we just freed up, now that $200 a month, we're going to redirect and now pay ourselves back inside of our policy.
And the best part about that is it's not changing your cash flow at all. You were already saving money. We just used the exact amount you were saving. We used that money to then pay off debts. When we paid off the debts, we took exactly the payment you were making to the creditor and we pay that back to yourself. So now you're in control of all the money, the principal and interest that you were giving away.
You didn't work any harder. You didn't change your cash flow, take on any additional risk or lose control. You already promised the exercise people their $200 a month. Now that they're paid off, you're just paying yourself back that money now. Because that's where most people stop, right? Most people think that, okay, now this is paid off. I have an extra $200 a month to go take my spouse on a nice extravagant date night, right? And we can't just treat that money like it's freed up money now. Be disciplined with your money habits. So let's continue on. Let's say the sun goes up, sun goes down, life keeps going on. Next, we're going to take out another loan from our policy. The next loan that we're going to take out is $15,000.
But hold on, if somebody might have multiple credit cards, then all of them equaled 15, we would still pay off the lowest balanced credit card.
That's right. That's right. So now we're taking out the $15,000 from the policy. We're taking that $15,000 and now we're going to pay off the credit cards. So now the credit cards are done. Now that $400 a month that we just freed up, that $400 is going to go back inside of our policy as those loan repayments back to ourselves. Did we work any harder?
No.
Take any additional risk?
Nope.
Lose control of the cash flow or the capital?
No, you regained control.
That's right. So now life still goes on, right? I get up every day, I put my pants on, I go outside, I smell the fresh air. Now next, the monthly payments that I'm recapturing, that goes back into my policy as a loan repayment. And now I'm gonna work on paying off my car. In a perfect world, we're gonna say that we have an additional $30,000 inside of our policy. We're gonna rinse and repeat the same process. Take out the $30,000 as the cash value from our policy. And now we're going to completely pay off now the car. Again, we just freed up the $500 a month that we were sending to the car people. Take that $500, now start paying ourselves back those loan repayments again back inside the policy.
That's $1,100 a month that you recaptured, and that was recaptured from money that you used to give away every single month. Again, not changing your cash flow, not working harder, not taking on any more risk. But now all that money is going back into your private banking system that you then can redeploy and use for other things.
That's right. That's right.
So in this example, we did it paying off debt. Now, there are some of you who don't have any debt and you're like, well, then this won't work for me. Wrong. This works for everything, folks. We just started with debt and cars, but what if you're using this to invest in real estate, do private lending, or any other type of investing? Folks, all you're doing is changing where the money starts. And then because you're using this system, your money that you started with never stops earning uninterrupted compounding interest. So if we replaced all the debts with real estate investing, stock investing, any type of investing you're doing, it's the same thing. But you see, now the advantage is all your money is earning for you. Therefore, what you make on the investments, that's making money a second time. So you got to make money twice on the same dollar using this system. From experience, I've used this. I used it to pay off debt. I used it to open businesses, and I've used it for real estate. It has changed my life, and I'm sure it's changed yours too.
Been doing it since I was 18 years old. Been around this since I was 8 years old, as my being second generation into this stuff. I mean, and honestly, implementing this, I became a millionaire by the time I was 24. It's a game changer.
So remember, folks, it is that simple. You changed one thing. That was where your savings went first, and then you added one step, which was this process right here that enabled all of your money to come back to the original source, which is your private banking system. So now that we've explained how you can become your own bank and what the infinite banking concepts is, the most important thing you're probably thinking is, how do I get started? Well, that's easy. You just book a call with one of our mentors. But before you do that, there's one more thing I want you to learn about, and that's this video right here, how to design an IBC policy. You're not gonna design it, we're gonna do it, but your understanding how all this works behind the curtain will drastically help you. So check this video out, how to design an IBC policy, updated. We'll see you next time.